Shabbat Shalom. I hope that this video finds you and your family healthy and safe and enjoying the beautiful fall weather that we're having here in New York. Regardless of whether a person fails or succeeds, a test only counts if the test taker finishes the test. In the Mishnah, we learn that Abraham undergoes 10 tests during his lifetime. The sages differed somewhat as to what exactly these tests were. Rashi heads his lists of 10 with Abraham hiding for 13 years from King Nimrod, who seeks to kill him. His list also includes the Midrash that says that Abraham was thrown into the fiery furnace by Nimrod and then survives. Rambam, that is Moses Maimonides, however, views these trials as less heroic and more in the realm of ordinary life experiences. He begins his listing with Abraham's exile from his home, and then the period of famine that Abraham endures. Both sages include the abduction of Sarah as described in this week's Parsha of Vayerah, as well as having to expel Ishmael, also in our Parsha this week. All of the different lists, however, end with the story of the binding of Isaac, read, of course, on Rosh Hashanah and appearing at the very end of our Parsha this week. It's interesting to note that none of these various trials and tribulations are presented in the commentary as a test, save the last one, that is the Akedah, or the command to sacrifice Isaac. The verse in our Parsha reads, Vayihi achar dvarim ha'eleh Hashem nisat Abraham. After these things, God tested Abraham. Also noteworthy is the fact that Abraham completes every one of those tests, of the 10 tests, except for one, and that is the Akedah. God tells Abraham to take Isaac and to bring him to the top of the mountain, which he will show him. Abraham brings Isaac and the wood for the sacrifice, but of course, as we all know, the sacrifice never happens. If a test needs to be completed in order to be counted, what was the purpose of God's testing Abraham? Furthermore, of great concern to many of the commentators in our Parsha, how is it that God, who knows everything that is in the past as well as everything that is in the future, how is it that such a God would need to test Abraham? Couldn't God simply look into his heart and see that Abraham was a loyal person and loved God? And what of the free will? Was Abraham free to choose, or were his actions already preordained? The Ramban, a Spanish Talmudist and biblical scholar Moses ben Nachman of the 13th century, suggests a compelling answer. He says, in my opinion, in a test, a person has the absolute authority to perform an action. One can do what they want and not do what they don't want. For the person being tested, it's a nisayon, a test. But for the minaseh yitbarach, for the blessed tester, he says, Yitzavelo leotzia devar min hakoach el hapoel. God tests Abraham in order to bring him from the realm of ability, of internal feelings, from the depths of Abraham's inner emotions to actuality. God rewards Abraham for actualizing, for bringing to life, acting upon that which he feels in his heart. Of course, there remain many difficult questions on the Akedah narrative, but Ramban's commentary points to a central tenet of Judaism, the importance of doing over simply feeling. Ramban enjoyed many good relations with Spanish Catholics of his day, and he memorably upheld this important Jewish perspective in his disputation with Pablo Cristiani, the famous Jewish convert to Catholicism. Perhaps one of the fundamental differences between Christian and Jewish belief is summed up in the difference between the word tzedakah and charity. Charity is based on the Latin word for love. One gives charity when moved by one's heart, which is a beautiful sentiment. However, the Jewish concept of giving is based on the word tzedek, that which is right or that which is just. We give whether motivated by the heart or not. We don't wait until we are inspired to do the right thing. Sometimes we do it despite our feelings. But because it's a matter of tzedek, of righteousness, and not of love, we operate in a world of action over emotion. Wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom, a beautiful and restful Shabbat.